Snow White, the epitome of sweetness, goodness, with a heart so pure and innocent, she attracts all the woodland creatures to her.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest of them all?
Get over yourself, you silly bint. Speaking as a woodland creature, everyone sees through your act. Footage of you snubbing Jenna Ortega has resurfaced, you catty slag, and this week, no one would give you the time of day at Fashion Week.
Weird.
Anyway, in the week leading up to the release of Snow White, the internet was awash in a slew of glowing reviews, all paid shills to drive the narrative in Disney's direction. Don't forget what was happening behind the scenes that very week. The film was embargoed from non-approved critics reviewing it until after the very last minute. The UK premiere had been cancelled. The US premiere was staged to prevent Zegler from coming into contact with the press in any way, shape, or form. But even now, today, weeks later, the deranged delusion coming from the Shill Media hasn't stopped, just like this one from Collider. Snow White becomes the second highest grossing movie of Rachel Zegler's career while pushing her past majestic box office milestone.
What atomic knob vacuum came up with that one?
Snow White's box office performance after 2 weekends in theaters is enough to help its leading star past a new box office milestone. At the time of writing, Disney's Snow White has grossed $66 million at the domestic box office and $75 million internationally for a worldwide cumulative total of $142 million. This is not only enough to make it the second highest grossing movie of Rachel Zegler's career, but also push her career global box office total past $700 million.
You're smoking crack! Something is wrong with you people!
Bloody hell! If you blew that much smoke up my tiny ass, I'd look like a dragon.
I'm not even entirely sure who this article is even directed at. The normies don't care, and the industry professionals damn well know better. Let's put this all in proper perspective for you. Snow White opened far below expectations at around $42 million domestically. The second weekend saw a cliff dive of nearly 70%. In its third week, it made a measly $5 million. Check this out from the numbers who track this sort of thing. After being in theaters for 3 long weeks, Snow White has accrued a measly $77 million domestically. For comparison, Minecraft blew that out of the water with $163 million in its opening weekend alone.
They're not even going to reach the Marvel's box office at this rate.
It is going to be a struggle, that's for sure. In fact, it's looking like it won't even clear $100 million domestically. Collider making this particular point about Rachel Zegler's success is kind of like trying to say Dennis Lawson, who played Wedge Antilles in Star Wars, passed a career milestone of over $2 billion, but really he was just happened to be in Star Wars. He was not the draw, and neither is she.
Wedge is cool.
Like I showcased in this video just like 3 months ago, Rachel's film Y2K was a fart and you'll miss it at the box office.
Barely making $4 million.
Completely. That's all. That's it. And her presence as its star was pretty much the only thing this film had going for it. It wasn't an established IP. There wasn't other star power to draw from. It was just her by herself. West Side Story flopped, even with Steven Spielberg behind it, and she stirred up controversy on that one too. Shazam 2 flopped. Her Hunger Games movie was the lowest take of the franchise. And now Snow White, which looks to be an embarrassing $300 million loss for the mouse. If you'll notice in all those other films I listed, any money that she's pulled in was because it was part of an existing IP, not because of her. Now let's take a look at this from a quality perspective for a moment. I've got an interesting little factoid for you. Forget about Rotten Tomatoes for a moment. Let's look at IMDb, where Snow White is sitting at 1.6 out of 10. That's actually a blip higher since the last time I checked it was at 1.5. And now let's look at the film most consistently voted the worst of all time, made famous by Mystery Science Theater, Manos, The Hands of Fate.
There is no way out of here.
No way out?
I'll get the luggage.
1.7? Are you serious?
Yeah, so a fertilizer salesman with a silent camera that could only shoot 32 seconds of film at a go, who was once rumored to be on LSD the entire shoot, who made the film on a bet, outdid the mouse and its nearly $500 million investment.
To be fair, Snow White made a bit more coin than Manos.
Well, but which one of those films will be remembered? Granted, MST helped quite a bit, but here we are talking about Manos 59 years later. If you care about the information that you get, it's important to take note in situations like this who the shills are, because these are the ones who reveal themselves to be the ones you can't trust. When a movie studio budgets for marketing, that includes birdseed for the shills. Most professional critics are nothing more than part of the marketing arm of studios. You've heard them. Study after study have come out saying people are gravitating to YouTubers like us because people crave authenticity, both in critical reviews of movies as well as news itself.
Except Chris Stuckman, who admitted in a video that he was going to shy away from negative reviews because he wanted a foot into the industry. But we will never sell out.
Most of these studios have their heads so far up their ass they fail to realize the obvious. If you just got back to making good product again, you'd be praised. If something were actually good, you wouldn't have to worry about negative reviews. You wouldn't have to stage premieres. You wouldn't have to compensate shills and gaslight the public like this fracking Collider article. If you don't know how to make good movies, or at least the box office is telling you clearly that you don't know how, then hire people who actually do. And most importantly, let them do their jobs without interference. And things like this Snow White disaster need never happen again. Let us know what you think in the comments and stay fresh, cheese bags.